Are there any questions on any of the assignments thus far? Any questions? All right, guys, so we're looking at 6.5 first. 6.5. Now, the 6.5, the first two theorems and the main two theorems that we're going to have are these two here. The first one is the triangle longer side theorem. If one side of a triangle is longer than another side, then the angle opposite the larger side is larger than the other angle. So the bigger side is opposite the bigger angle. The smaller side is opposite the smaller angle. And the triangle larger angle theorem states if one angle of a triangle is larger than another, then the side opposite the larger angle is bigger than the side opposite the smaller angle. So 50 degrees, so this side is going to be bigger than that side. Okay. So the first problem we're going to look at is this one here. You're constructing a stage prop that shows a large triangular mountain. The bottom edge of the mountain is 32 feet long. The left slope is 24 feet, and the right slope is 26 feet. List the angles from smallest to largest. So looking at these three here, which is the smallest side? 24 is the smallest, so angle L would be the smallest. 26 is this next, the side in the middle, and the angle opposite is angle J. And the last one would be angle K, and 32 feet is the biggest, so angle K is the biggest. Any questions on this here? I can go back. So we want to order the angles from smallest to biggest. Well, what's the smallest side? 11, and the angle opposite is, so angle A is the smallest. So our next biggest side would be 12. So the next biggest angle is angle B, which leaves us with angle C, and 13 is the biggest, and its opposite angle C. That's it. Questions on this here? So looking at this here, so smallest to biggest, so we look at the smallest side, which is opposite angle. So angle Q is the smallest angle. The next biggest side would be, which is opposite angle, and that leaves us with angle R. And that's it. Any questions on this here? Do we need to see another example of one of these with angles? Okay. Let's look at this one next. So this is not asking for angles, but side lengths. Now, do we know what all three angles are? Well, not yet, but we do know that any three angles in a triangle add up to be So we can add 51 and 47 together. And once we add them together, 1 and 7 is 8. 5 and 4 is, and once we add them together, we can subtract it from 180 to see what the value of the other angle is. And 180 minus 98, 7 and 10 is 2, 0. So the other angle would be 82 degrees. So we're wanting to go from shortest to longest, so we want to see which angle is the smallest, which would be. And the side opposite this is side length, side DF. So side DF would be the smallest side. The next biggest angle is 51, which is his opposite. FE or EF, either one. And 82, the biggest angle, is opposite DE or ED, either one. And that's it. Any questions on this here? So no questions, we'll look at this one here. Now again, any three angles in a triangle add up to be 180. So we can add these two angles together and then subtract it from 180. 0, carry the 1. And that would give us, and we can subtract 120 from 180, which would give us 60. So CA would be the longest because it's opposite 61. Now what would be the shortest? So BC would go first, and then BA would be the middle one, and then AC would be the longest. And that's it. Any questions on this here? All right. We'll look at this one here and then we'll move on to the next part. Well, 29 is the smallest angle. So that means ST is the smallest side. RS would be the middle because 30 degrees is between 29 and 121. RT would be the longest. And because we're talking about the line segments, we'll need the symbols above each one for line segments. Any questions on any of this here? All right. Let's look at the last part of 6.5, which is the triangle inequality theorem. Now, the triangle inequality theorem states that if we add any two side lengths of a triangle together, it will be bigger than the third side, whatever the third side length is. And that will work for any combination of the three side lengths. Because if that holds true, then it is a triangle. If it's not, if they are equal or not greater than the third side length, then it's not a triangle. Any questions on this here? So, when we look at this first example, we want to find the third side, what it could be. So we're going to be talking about inequalities. Now we're told that one side length is 14 and the other is 9. So any of the two side lengths added together, so 14 plus 9 is going to be greater than x, whatever that third side length is. Now we could also say that 14 plus x is greater than 9, and 9 plus x is greater than 14. Because we have 3 different ways we can add the 2 side lengths together, and it'd be greater than the third side. Which one of these 3 statements isn't really going to matter? It's going to be this one. Is 14 greater than 9? Is 14 greater than 9? Yeah. So does it matter what x is? No, because it's always going to be greater than 9, yes? So this one we're not concerned about because 14 is already greater than 9. The 2 that we're going to focus on for finding the third side are these other 2. Here, 14 plus 9 is what? 23 is greater than x. Because if x is equal to 23 or bigger than it, then it won't work because the other 2 sides, 14 and 9, have to add together to be greater than whatever the third side length is. So the third side length cannot be greater than 23. Here, we do need to solve for the value of x, and we would do what? Subtract 9 from both sides, which would tell us that x is greater than, a little bit bigger, 5. So if x is less than 5, we don't have a triangle. But if x is greater than 23, we don't have a triangle. So it has to be between 5 and 23. So 5 is less than x is less than 23. And that would be the length of the third side. Any questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. If one side of the triangle is 12 and the other side is 20, we want to describe the possible third side. So we could say 12 plus 20 is greater than x. 12 plus x is greater than 20. And 20 plus x is greater than 12. One of these 3 we don't need. Right, because 20 is always going to be greater than 12. So that's not going to give us any useful information. We'll look at the other 2. Well, here, 12 plus 20 is 2. So x cannot be greater than 32. What would we do for this one here? We need to solve for x. So we can subtract 12 from both sides. X has to be greater than 8. So x is less than x. 8 is less than x is less than 32. And this here would be our answer. Questions on this here? Yep. Any other questions on this here? We need to see another example of finding this here. We feel good with this here? All right. That brings us to the last part. Determine whether it's possible to construct a triangle with the 3 given lengths. So we just need to see, do the inequalities work out? So with number 5, 4, 9, and 10, well, I can pick 2 of the side lengths. 4 plus 9 needs to be greater than 10. So 4 plus 9 is And is 13 greater than 10? Okay. Well, we can do 4 plus 10 and see if that's greater than 9. Well, it is. So that'd be 14 is greater than 9. And lastly, it would be 9 plus 10 is greater than 4. Well, yes, because not both 9 and 4 are greater than 9 and 10 are both greater than 4. Well, 9 plus 10 is 19 is going to be greater than 4. So will these three lengths make a triangle? Yes. Guys, heads down. Thank you. So yes, because all three inequalities work, it does work out. And if any one of the inequalities doesn't work, then it's not going to be a triangle. So let's look at the next one here. Well, we can do 8 plus 9 is greater than 18. Well, what is 8 plus 9? Is 17 greater than 18? So can this be a triangle? No. And let's look at the last one. Well, this here would be 5 plus 7 is greater than 12. Well, what is 5 plus 7? It is 12 greater than 12. No, so is this a triangle? No, it would actually make a straight line. Any questions on this here? All right. Your assignment for 6.5 is on page 308, and it's problems 11 through 24. Go on and copy that down, and once y'all get that copied down, we're going to look at 6.6. We get the homework copy down? All right. Let's look at 6.6. So,
What's mud?
what we're looking at here is something called the hinge theorem. And the hinge theorem is dealing with two sets and two triangles with two sets of congruent sides and an angle in the middle. Now, if we look at this here with a gate, and as the gate opens, well, the angle here at A is doing what as the gate opens? It's getting bigger. And what's happening to the side length here? It's getting bigger, yes? So, according to the hinge theorem, if two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another, and the included angle of the first is larger than the included angle of the second, and this side is going to be bigger than that side. We good with that there? Okay. Well, the converse of it's true also. If we have two sets of congruent sides and two triangles, well, the bigger side is going to be opposite the bigger angle. The smaller side is going to be opposite the smaller angle. Well, the side in the middle is going to be congruent. So we want to compare the measure of angle PST to the measure of angle SPR. So which side's bigger? So this angle here, bigger, which would be which angle? Yes, sir. We ready for the next one? So we want to compare the measure of angle B and the measure of angle E. Well, which side length's bigger? 11 is opposite angle. So which angle is bigger?
Angle B.
So the measure of angle B is greater than the measure of angle E.
Fancy.
And that's it. Questions on this here? Okay, here we want to compare JM and LM. 64 is the bigger angle. So the side length opposite, which is, would be bigger. And that's it. AC, DC.
DCA.
No. So we got,
Oh, so AC big.
yep, AC would be bigger. Questions on this here? Okay. If PR and PS are congruent, well, this line would be congruent in the middle, and the measure of QPR is greater than the measure of QPS, so bigger angle and smaller, which is longer, SQ or RQ? Which one we say was longer?
No, not, numbers. The B is for bigger, the S is for
Mhm. RQ would be the bigger, because it tells us which angle is bigger.
Right, how'd you get that? S and B.
So it told us which angle is bigger. I just used S and B to denote which one was bigger and which one was smaller. Any other questions on this here? So if
S would be bigger. PS and PR.
we're congruent, and we do have this side in the middle is congruent.
Is it RQ or SQ?
RQ is less than, so this is the smaller side, and this is the angle STQ would be the bigger angle, because it's opposite the bigger side. Questions on this here? Okay, we're not going to worry about the proof, and I feel like y'all feel comfortable with these here, yes? All right. This is the last thing we're going to look at. Two groups of bikers leave the camp heading in opposite directions. Each group travels 2 miles, then changes directions and travels 1.2. Group A starts out due east and then changes directions 45 degrees north. And Group B starts due west and then turns 30 degrees south. Now the angle that they're talking about that they are changing is not inside the triangle, but is outside. Now, these two angles here add together to be what? 180 because they make a straight. So here we have to do 180 minus 45. And 180 minus 45 is 180. 135 degrees. So this angle here is 135 degrees. Here we're going to do 180 minus 30, which is 150 degrees. So which group traveled the furthest?
Group B.
Group B traveled further than Group A because they have a greater angle. Any questions on this here? And we could do the same thing with both C and D to see which one traveled further. But that's it. And that is the end for chapter 6.